you watched Jamtara probably, or folks would have watched Jamtara, right? But that is yet very, very real.
1 in 5 households in India have been hit by some kind of fraud in the last 3 years, right?
What are the scams that you've seen which are making Indians lose crores of rupees?
In India, we have a very high percentage of Android. You get a file on your WhatsApp saying, click this to install the challan APK. You click on that, now that app can listen to all your...
With the rise of AI, have you seen any new innovative scams coming up?
Bot attacks have increased significantly over the past few years.
See, what a human can do with 1 to 10, a bot can do it millions. Machines can talk like humans, they can sound like humans.
So AI calling scams have already started.
Yeah, AI calling is definitely started. It makes the scammer more efficient. They also have KRAs, right? They're scams per second, so...
I have UPI and I have credit cards. Now, how can somebody scam me from this?
They don't hack the tech, they hack the...
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the 1% Club Show. Usually on this show, we talk about what mutual funds to buy, what stocks to buy. But we never talk about how do we protect our money, how do we protect ourselves from the frauds and the scams that is happening in India for crores of people. Did you know that 1 out of every 5 Indian has fallen for a scam? So on today's episode, I have invited some senior leaders of Flipkart and PayU to discuss this topic in depth because they deal with transactions in hundreds and thousands of crores on a daily basis. So make sure to watch till the end if you want to protect you and your family from the next financial fraud. Now, on to the episode. So what are those things that you guys have observed which most people you think do not know about? Because the kind of scale that you guys operate at, with crores of Indians using your platforms, what are the scams or the innovative tactics that you've seen which are making Indians lose crores of rupees?
I think the statistics are almost 1 in 5 households in India have been hit by some kind of a fraud in the last 3 years, right?
Wow.
And it could be a small fraud. A lot of these, not every fraud needs to be a lakh, a few lakhs. It can be 500 also, but it is still a fraud.
Yeah.
So sometimes you don't even realize it. Sometimes you hit, you don't care about it. You can complain about it. Like I said, it's a very prevalent thing and you always have to be aware to save yourself from it.
So can we break that down in terms of the different types of scams, starting from low value scams to high value scams, right? Because Gaurav just mentioned it's not necessary that everything is a lakh worth of a scam. There could be a 500 rupees scam, 1000 rupees scam. So can we start with the lowest amount and then go one step higher so that people are aware of what are the different kinds of ways people are trying to steal money from you?
So generally when scams happen, it will start with a low value. Because there are 2 steps in the scamming process, right? The first one is to get your credentials.
Okay.
That is the most important thing. Once they've got your credentials, that's when you use a larger amount.
Yeah.
And the scam happens at that point of who do you trust when you give your credentials. You go online and you shop at a website. Why do I shop at a Flipkart today? Because I trust Flipkart will deliver the goods to me.
Yeah.
If I have some XYZ website, I don't know if I'm going to get the goods. I may not get the goods. The quality may be good or not. When I put my card information on that website, is that card information going to be stored by that website?
Yeah.
Legally, they are not allowed to store it.
Yeah.
Right? They are supposed to have a follow a compliance standard.
Right.
But me as a user and ordinary Indians as users would probably not be aware of any of this, right?
No, but let's look, deep dive into that point that you said. Obviously, there are established players like, Flipkart, where I know it's trustworthy and I'm ready to give my credit card details. But even if it's another, D2C player, they are invariably going to work with a payment aggregator.
So one of the primary roles that we do is to verify the authenticity of the merchant and genuineness of the merchant.
Okay.
Before I will give, or PayU will give its payment gateway services to any merchant, we'll do a thorough due diligence of that merchant to make sure they are genuine, the KYC is done, they are selling products which are approved, not any banned products, etc.
Right.
And this is a continuous monitoring process because think about it, when you come to me and you have a website, I say, look, wait, you are selling saris. After 2 months, you're selling something else. How do I make out that you're selling something else? Both of them may be 1,000 rupees. It's the same 1,000 rupee transaction. So I need to have a lot of tools to actually continuously monitor the activity you're doing and make sure that the end consumer is not fleeced.
Can I just add to that? I think there are a few other aspects of that. Firstly, you go into a website, it's taking your card information. You don't know if he's RBI registered, if he's using PayU, if he's using nobody. He's just storing it in a text block somewhere. So that's why you should be very careful of which website you go and enter your card information, because you don't know if it's actually going through. There is no law governing a website really, right? And websites can be now created in half a day. You just create something with a fully payment thing, and they can process payment outside India. See, India is very secure. But if I get your card information, I can process it through some international payment gateway and take the money without OTP, without anything.
Really?
Yes. So you have to be really, really.
So let's say you have my credit card details.
I can take money from you. It's gone
Without OTP.
Without OTP. That's
how.
And it almost feels like you're violated, right?
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of it. In India, you're so used to the security. Outside India, you don't always need an OTP. There are a lot of times you'll put your card, it'll just go through without any kind of second factor authentication. Which is why, like, one of the main things everybody should do, I do it, is turn off their international transactions if you're not using it. If you're not traveling, if you're not paying something outside, please turn it off. So that's one vector of attack.
So, but this is a more advanced level where they first got your details.
Yeah.
But can you guys tell me, let's say now I have my, like right now, how do I make payments? I have UPI and I have credit cards, debit cards, all of these things. Now the wallet is with me. I have all the details. Now, how can somebody scam me from this? Tell me.
So I don't need to know your card details at all. The thing you realize is social engineering is what these guys do, right? They don't hack the tech. They hack the customer. They hack the mind, right? So they play on basic things like fear and greed. That's the most basic of human emotions, right? So what they'll do is, this was a recent one I saw. So Karnataka government said, hey, 50% off on your challans if you pay via this date.
50% off on your
challans, your traffic challans, if you pay via the state. The next day, you started getting SMSs from fraudsters. Hey, your challan of 500 is due. If you pay it before in the week, you'll get 50% off. Click this link to pay. You click this link, it'll immediately open some kind of a UPI page where you enter to pay and the 500 rupees is gone. It's a UPI payment collect. Right? That's as simple as. I don't need to know your details. I just have to fool you into entering your PIN. That's all I need to do. So you say, you know what, probably, my wife crossed the red light. Maybe there's a challan there. Maybe I have to pay it. It's only 500 rupees. I don't think about it. It's gone.
But who gave these guys UPI payment collection access?
No, anybody can. UPI is open thing. I can request money from you today.
Okay. You're like, they send an SMS.
I send an SMS to you.
With
and if you click on that link, it takes you to some form where it starts a UPI payment. Or it could be a card payment. And that's something we're all used to, right? You get payment links all the time.
But don't they need to work with the payment gateway partner for getting...
So at an individual level, you don't need to. Not for cards, but for UPI,
you don't need.
There's a peer-to-peer. I can send money to you. And you generally, if you share a QR code with me, how we pay, we just scan the QR and pay.
Correct.
Equivalent, you are sending a QR to me or you're sending a link to me saying, hey, scan this QR and pay your traffic fine, right? It's not a peer to merchant, which is the other entity being a merchant. It's an individual, just the way we pay most of our taxi drivers, etc. Right? For cards, yes, it needs to be approved by a payment aggregator like us, which is where the due diligence comes in, and it's our job to make sure that the receiver of the money is secure.
So this is one example. What happens after that beyond this? This is for people who are like, oh, something was announced that everybody knows about, and a scammer will take advantage of the short window of time.
The urgency, they'll do that.
Yeah.
You watched Jamtara probably, or folks would have watched Jamtara, right? But that is yet very, very real. It's very real because you will... and most of the times this phishing fraud, as you call it, right? And phishing fraud, it happens on elderly, but even like young people have landed up saying, hey, this is a password or OTP for something. I was expecting a parcel delivery from Blue Dart, and this was the OTP, and I just say, hey, this is my OTP. I'm in the middle of work and somebody calls me and saying, hey, your Blue Dart delivery I need to do. And I'll end up giving the OTP. I don't know what that OTP was. I don't really look at it. But when you get an OTP, you will actually see the bank is sending you, this is for this amount for this merchant. There's detail. Do you actually look at that level of detail?
No.
And look at it. But that is a large one.
The first OTP that's there.
That's, I see the topmost OTP and you give it, and you need to get 1 out of 100 people to give it to you. There are a lot of people available to just call and say OTP they do.
Yeah, it's like cricket, right? The batsman has to get right every time. The bowler just had to get right once. OTP is a very interesting one, right? OTP, in my opinion, was a big financial innovation almost. Because, like, if you look at the world of security, right? There are the Holy Trinity that says what you know, what you have, and what you are.
Okay.
Right? So OTPs were there to solve passwords. Earlier, there was only what you know, which is a password, and everybody used to keep very simple passwords. Like one of the most common passwords is password. Right? So
Password 123.
yeah, password 123. I think every year that's published thing, right? So people used to keep a password. They couldn't remember it. So then they said, hey, let's not do that. Let's look for OTP, which is one-time password. It's generated only once. So that comes in the realm of what you have. So that really unlocked a lot of people do their transactions. People who didn't remember the transfer password, they would just get a OTP and enter it. But then that started getting hacked. So you have to keep going down, and then we have to go to the higher level of evolution, saying, hey, what you are. Can I do that? That's more secure than what you have, and which is more secure than what you know.
So repeat that. First is what? First level is?
What you know.
What you know.
Second is what you have.
And the last one is what you are.
What you are. These are like
3 levels of security.
These are whole trinity. And when people make systems, they try to make combinations of them. It's not only one of them.
Okay.
But like in terms of security, this is how it goes. That's how. So what you have, example of that is a key. You have a key.
Okay.
What you know is the path to the underground buried treasure. That's what you know, right? What you are is you. So you kind of have to go through that evolution. So if you ask me something like a biometric payments would come in the realm of what you are. I'm not authenticating what you know. I'm not authenticating what you have. I'm authenticating who you are.
Interesting. I use this device which Google gives. It's an NFC device.
Yeah.
So even though I know the password, which is what I know, I put that, and then I have to bring this device close to my phone. It's an NFC device, and then that unlocks.
That's a combination of what I are and what you know and what you have.
What I know and what I have. I
combined it. Now, if that device also had a fingerprint in it, saying it doesn't have to come close, but you have to authenticate. So like YubiKey keys do that, right?
Correct.
You have to put your fingerprint, and then it gets unlocked. That's actually a combination of all three.
So that's the highest level of security.
I need to know my password. I need to have the key, and I need to authenticate that it's me using the key. That's all three.
But most people just do the OTP and then that's it, right? But let's say I have the OTP. I get an OTP. One is the social engineering aspect that somebody can call me and ask me what is the OTP. But are there any technological ways of hacking me once I get the OTP?
Yes. And that's the other most prevalent one in India. In India, we have a very high percentage of Android phones, right?
Okay, Android
right?
phones.
In Android phones, one of the biggest one, this happened again during challan time. You get a file on your WhatsApp saying, click this to install the Pay Challan APK, which is like a app.
Okay.
You click on that. Now that app can listen to all your OTPs, all your SMSs.
So SMS reading is allowed by Android under certain set of conditions, right? And so if you install an app which can read your SMSs, and then it's just transmitting those SMSs.
You just have to install it once, and then your SMSs are gone forever. Every time they can initiate an OTP, take your OTP and pay from you.
But this app, from where am I installing it?
WhatsApp. Somebody sent it to you saying, hey, I'm from the traffic police. Your challan is 500. Please click this to pay your thing. It gets installed and you're gone. A lot of people don't understand that they're actually installing an app. They're just clicking a link. They're used to clicking links.
Yeah,
right?
They're used to clicking links, yeah. Especially if there is a fear associated with that.
Fear and greed.
So fear and greed, yeah.
Fear and greed. You won something. I think that's the oldest trick in the book.
Yeah.
Nobody believes in that anymore. Now it's fear.
No. You'll be surprised.
No,
People
greed
still
as
fall
well.
for it.
Really?
A lot of the scams are, it's funny. I don't know if you ever heard of the Nigerian scams, right?
Of course, Nigerian prince.
The postcards. It used to start with postcards. They used to send you a postcard saying the Nigerian prince is this thing. So the whole village doing this.
Okay.
Now they send emails, right? Now they send WhatsApp. But the content is the same. People still fall for it. There are 1 in 1,000 fall for it, and that's okay.
People still fall for this on email.
Yes.
Damn.
The scams are amazing, right? If you go to the psychology of it, those emails intentionally have spelling mistakes.
Okay.
Not because they don't know how to spell, because they want to weed out people like you and me who can spot spelling mistakes.
Okay.
So if somebody has not fallen for the spelling mistake, because the scamster's time is also valuable, right?
Right.
He doesn't want to waste time calling you and me because, hey, you had a spelling mistake, you're a scamster. So he'll catch the guy who didn't fall, who didn't realize it was a spelling mistake. So maybe he's more vulnerable.
Oh, interesting. So with the rise of AI, have you seen any new innovative scams coming up with the power of AI which scamsters are using?
I think more than AI, it's just the technology allows you brute force. Bot attacks have increased significantly over the past few years.
But
So
can you explain what a bot attack exactly is? Like to a layman, how do you explain what a bot attack is?
So a bot attack is actually a machine iteratively trying different consumer identities and trying to log into a website, right? So if I have, or trying to do a transaction, right? So it's just basically saying I'm trying to pump in 10,000 transactions in 1 minute through 10,000 different identities. Maybe 2 of them may be genuine identities which match. But when it's a high peak traffic for somebody, I may be getting 10,000 genuine transactions also in a minute.
But how? Give me an example. Let's say IPL is going on and I am buying something on Zomato, for example. I'm buying food on Zomato. What's going to happen? How can a bot attack take advantage of this?
You have a lakh transactions happening in a minute on a website, right? You have 10,000 transactions coming in which are completely from a bot.
Okay.
How do I separate those 10,000 from the remaining lakh, which is genuine transactions?
Or maybe I can ask. Maybe the possible vector. I'm not giving any ideas to any scamsters there. But if the IPL is happening and they know a lot of food deliveries happen during this match, send everybody a link saying, hey, your food delivery is here, give me your OTP. And a bot can just automate. See, what a human can do with 1 to 10, a bot can do it millions instantly. So they just now run, and now machines can talk like humans, they can sound like humans, they can type like humans.
Is that already happening?
Yeah, you've got very, very efficient.
So AI calling scams have already started?
Yeah, AI calling has definitely started. What they do is the AI calling, this is the first round, they'll call you and then immediately hand it over human to do deep.
Handover.
So have you placed an order? Please say yes. You say yes and the guy comes in.
Oh.
It makes the scammer more efficient. They also have KRAs, right? They scams per second. So
right. So these guys are like actual organizations, these scammers, they are actual proper companies?
They absolutely have to be. Like the kind of
so it's
scale
like a new age organized crime. This is sort of something like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely they have to be organized. And whether it is one person with great technology or a company, I don't know.
But must be a very educated guy who is really understood everything.
Scammers are the smartest of people.
They are the smartest of people, and they have lots of time in the world to just figure out where are loopholes.
They don't have time. It's worth their time.
Not that time.
They make their money.
Right. So you mentioned that you have a separate department for frauds.
Yes.
So daily do you see new frauds happening?
Yes.
Daily?
Not daily, but we keep seeing new and new modes. Sometimes they're really old modes that come back. Sometimes they're variations of old modes.
So right now, what are you seeing, which is really, really...
Like I told you, the Karnataka, the challan one was the latest one we saw, that SMS. But income tax is another time. I think there's always a round that goes out during income tax period.
So tell me what happens when we are paying income
your tax is due. Please click here. Or your refund is due. That's another big one. Enter your PIN to get your refund. Greed. Operating on greed. You will be fined more if you don't do it. Enter your PIN to pay your tax of 100 rupees. Fear. Right? They always, hack the meatware, not the software. Meatware is humans.
Interesting. So as Flipkart, right now you guys are, can you share some numbers of the scale that you guys operate in right now at Flipkart?
So I think a few things, right? First of all, we serve almost 500 million customers in India. It's spanning across 20,000 pin codes.
500 million?
30% of people living in India and a higher percentage of households in India is what we serve. And our peak time, which is Diwali time, what we call the big billion day, that's a day where we see almost 10 million transactions processed a day. Right. So
1 crore transactions per day.
Yeah. And a lot of them are during that midnight period where a lot of people stay up for a great deal. So that period is even more. Just in that 1 hour, we process a crazy amount of transactions. So that's the kind of scale we look to, which is why I was saying that, Jamtara comes to us. We see all of these numbers.
So what kind of scams did you notice during these periods of time? Like you talked about big billion day, you're processing 1 crore transactions every single day. What kind of innovative scams have you seen?
I think OTP scams we talked about. That's one of the things we see where people try to get an OTP from you and shop for something on Flipkart and get it delivered to them. That's one thing we see, and we obviously try to block that because we detect that this is not really you making the transaction. Somebody else who's got your card details.
Okay.
The other one which we see often is people trying to spoof the Flipkart website. It's something like Flipkart, but one letter different. So, it looks like Flipkart, looks like a big billion day website, but it's something different. So during that period when people are greedy for discounts, you want it in the short term, they might accidentally click on a wrong link saying, hey, 50% off on iPhone, click here to buy on Flipkart, right? They might click on something wrong with a long thing. So phishing kind of goes up and OTP fraud kind of goes up, I would say, during that period.
Interesting. So how big is your team at PayU? How many employees are there?
So in our fraud and risk management team, we have approximately 80 to 90 people, which would just be looking at data patterns, looking at...
So these are data scientists.
It's a combination of data scientists and risk analysts, as we call it. We also have very deep engagements with FIU India, which is the Fraud Investigations Unit under the central government. And what we'll end up doing along with FIU, and this is not only us, but the entire ecosystem, there's a lot of sharing of data which happens in terms of new MO, suspicions. You'll file suspicious reports saying, hey, I think there's something suspicious happening here. And then you let the investigating agencies come in and actually be able to see if there's a pattern, because I may be seeing something, somebody else in a bank may be seeing something else, Gaurav may be seeing something at Flipkart, but we are not always talking to each other. But then there are these central agencies that we talk to and we report findings so that actually it can be mitigated at a central level.
Interesting. So Gaurav, how big is your team?
Yeah, we also have around more than 100, people in our fraud detection team. These are across analysts, tech, product, legal. There's a huge army that just spends a lot of time focusing on all kinds of frauds. But just wanted to, also add to what Hemang was saying. We are actually a two-sided marketplace, right? We have sellers and we have customers, while we have banks. So we have to protect all of them. So while the customers fraud we talked about, sometimes we also have to protect the sellers from the reverse side of fraud.
But how? Because I am a seller, I'm selling something and I collect the money.
So
how am I being scammed?
So you can actually have customers or, fraudulent customers saying that I did not get the product. Or, one of the things that we read about is that you get an iPhone, but you put a soap in it and you return it back with the soap instead of the iPhone. You keep the iPhone. So we have to protect the seller also. So
This happens?
It has happened in the past. So what we have done is we actually, Indians are innovative, we always find a loophole.
Put soap in the iPhone box and sell it back to the seller.
Saying, return it back, saying, I don't like this phone. It doesn't work. It's too slippery.
And then he gets the refund.
Then the customer can get a refund. But that's what we detect, right? So what we do is we just don't score. We actually have a trust score for our customers also. And if it's a good customer and it's probably then a soap, maybe they didn't get an iPhone, we do that. But if we detect a fraudulent pattern, that is a fraudulent customer, then we would actually hold that back or maybe investigate more. Maybe just ask 2 more questions before we do the refund instantly. So the policy that we have is we trust, but when we feel it might be a fraudulent pattern, then we audit. So trust but audit.
So now let's talk about the future, right? Since I was born in 1995. I still remember, sitting, my dad owned a restaurant, bar and restaurant. I still remember when I was 10 years old, I used to go to the bar and restaurant, sit in the cashier counter, and the bills used to come with the cash. I take the cash, put in the drawer which has more cash, and give the change. This is the era that I was born in. Then obviously came debit card when my mom opened my first bank account. And then I think in the last 7-8 years, we've been using UPI. And then in the last 3 years, I've been using credit cards very extensively. What does the future of payments look like? You start.
So, the funny thing I wanted to say about my first startup in payments was actually at restaurants and bars. And we were trying to convince all the cashiers who were sitting at the counter to accept digital payments. And they're like, no, I don't want to take it. It's causing more effort for me. Cash is easy for me. Right? From that to now, people saying, hey, don't pay me cash. Pay me UPI because cash is difficult for me. So we've seen that full 180-degree thing happening. But to answer your specific question, the future of payments is invisible, right? Invisible, where you don't know it's happening. For 99.9% of the good payments, it should be invisible. You shouldn't even have to type a PIN. It just authenticates that it is really you trying to make a real payment via face recognition, biometric, voice recognition, they've seen fingerprint recognition or palm recognition, whatever it is, right? Some kind of invisible payment, and you just walk through. So that's the real end state of payments for 99.9%. And then for that 0.1% where we detect a fraud or possibly a different use case, we add friction and we ask you for more information. So that's really the end state of payments. The other end state of payments is, I think, micro payments. Everything talking to everything. Like, for example, right now, only you have a UPI handle and you maybe talk to my UPI handle. But tomorrow your watch, your car, everything will have its own handle, and they might be making microtransactions for everything. A small example, like a FASTag is a small example of that. But maybe your car can pay your parking, it can pay the petrol, your watch can pay for food. So micro payments and everything paying everybody will happen more and more.
So actually, there is.
I'm sure you are also working on all of these things.
Yeah. So it's,
what can I expect in 2026?
26, you will start seeing some launch of agentic commerce, which is what you're saying. Like, it's the very simple concept is you say you want to bake a cake, and an agent on your behalf, which is a digital agent, effectively, is deciding what are the ingredients. They're deciding the quantity and the quality, and they're deciding what are the shops you generally buy from. They're probably doing price comparisons, and they're making a payment on your behalf. So if you're thinking about it from a trust perspective, you are trusting that the right ingredients will be bought. You're trusting that it will come at the right time, at the right quantity, and the payment will go securely to that shop only and not anyone else, right?
This will happen this year only.
You will see launches of some of that happening. Some of these launches have already started happening in the West.
Wow.
You'll see some of these launches, but over the next 3 to 5 years, this will become commonplace.
So I'm just going to say I want to bake a cake and all the ingredients will come to my house in 10 minutes.
It should get there in 3 to 5 years.
So that is one aspect where I'm using my voice to give a command. But then you mentioned that it should be invisible, right? So if I just give a command, how are my bank accounts validating that it's me? Is it just through my voice? That the bank knows that it's me asking for the command, or is there any other ways that you can sort of protect my money when I'm making a payment transaction?
Yeah, so I think good question. And your voice, while it is you, a voice is probably one of the easier things to spoof about you.
How?
Especially with AI, right? Now in AI, you can actually I give a sample of you speaking X number of vowels and consonants. It can actually start creating videos of Sharan.
Yeah, I already have AI reels going out.
There you go.
So they'll use that and then spoof my voice.
Spoof your voice. So this is probably one of the easier ones to create.
Okay.
I think some of the tougher ones to create are your fingerprint, your iris scan, your face scan. Face scans have evolved to be pretty reliable. So those are one of the toughest, and I'm sure we'll keep on finding more. I read about somebody actually uniquely trying to fingerprint your pulse. Right. So
wow.
I'm sure they'll get to that. But the ones that are within our reach today, and which a lot of us use, is face scan and fingerprint. That's very common. So what we will do, and that's something we're looking to launch as an e-commerce merchant, is that any payment, whether it's initiated via voice, whether it is initiated by the app, we will just say, hey, you don't have to enter your OTP. I know it's you. This is your predictable pattern. I know you're paying for your bill. I know you're ordering groceries to your known address. It is what I call a safe transaction. I deem it safe. And you can just spread your fingerprint or show me your face and it'll go through. I'll make it very seamless for that transaction to go through. Now, if you suddenly get in the middle of the night and start buying iPhone, now it doesn't look like Sharan right now. He only buys iPhone at 9 a.m., not at middle of the night. So
that's interesting. So basically, I don't need to type OTPs anymore.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, when they launch something like this, what is the benefit of this? Because right now, the modus operandi is that I wait for the OTP to come and I put the OTP and I make the transaction and I purchase it. Now he's talking about using face recognition and then make the payment. So I wanted to understand, what problem is this exactly solving for today?
So it's solving for 2 large problems, right? So the first and the biggest problem it's solving for, it's going to reduce fraud in the ecosystem. Because what we talked about, OTP phishing, right?
Yeah.
If the OTP itself is not coming and you're replacing it with who you are, when he talked about it, right? It's your fingerprint or your face, and that is on your own device.
Right.
So you got the way this technology works is your um, device. You bind the device is bound with your fingerprint or your face, right? And that is very unique. Means if you use your fingerprint on my device, it's not going to work.
Right.
So it's again what you have is your device.
Right.
What you've entered is your card number at some point of time, or you got a saved card number, and who you are putting your fingerprint, right?
Yeah.
So it's got all three of them put together, and it's far more secure as a transaction. So that is the biggest advantage. Is going to reduce fraud in the ecosystem by a large amount.
So right now you said sub 0.1% are fraudulent. Once this technology comes into the picture, what do you think that number will drop down to?
See, fraudsters will always find a new way, but I would expect a material drop in the existing MO of fraud, which is phishing of OTPs, etc. It should almost drop down meaningfully, very, very large.
But there's no way to scam this, right? Because somebody can't ask me to take a screenshot of myself and
Absolutely. It may move to another place, right? So while I'm shopping on Flipkart, you may not be able to do a fraud there, but maybe I still get a link saying pay, get your traffic challan, get a refund or whatever. The fraudster will find something else, right? But through this modus operandi, which has been a very, very big, painful thing for the entire industry, I think a lot of those frauds will come down close to zero, right?
That's number one, reduction of frauds.
That's number one. The second big piece is it saves time. All of us have waited saying, OTP is coming, then you try or retry, sometimes it comes.
Yeah.
On average, actually 5 to 6% of transactions fail. Because either the OTP is not reached you, or you enter by mistake a wrong OTP, or it's by the time you get the OTP, it's timed out. All of these sites have a timer, right?
Right.
So that's about 5 to 6%. Now, if I'm thinking from an e-commerce merchant perspective or from a customer perspective, I'll take both the examples, right? You spent a fair amount of time and engagement with the consumer to get the consumer to browse through your catalog, come to the last page of payments, and then you want that payment to go through. The consumer on their end has spent a significant amount of time saying, hey, this is what I really want to buy. And then the transaction doesn't go through. You have to repeat the entire process. When you think about things like quick commerce, right? You want the food delivery or something to come to you in 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever the period of time is. You can't have 30 seconds, 50 seconds closing a payment. This makes it instantaneous.
Interesting. So you're saying one number of frauds will come down and the number of transactions will go up because there will be lesser failures. It will be instantaneous with my face scan. Interesting. So, Gaurav, you're talking about this biometric way of paying money. You don't need OTPs and all of that. So, when will this launch in Flipkart?
So that's the exciting part. This is already launched.
Already launched?
Live right now, yeah. Well, we're scaling it up, but we are the largest e-commerce platform in India who has actually enabled allowing you to pay with your cards in this manner. And obviously, we'll scale it up to more and more customers and more banks soon. But please do try it out.
I'll try it.
I'm sure you'll love it. And we've launched this in partnership with PayU.
So that's something, it's a product proposition. We work with both banks and merchants on two sides, right?
Yeah.
So this requires a partnership where at the end of the day, the bank has to say yes to this.
No, I'm wondering why did
biometric
this take so
authentication.
much time? Because face scan was part of my phone for years now.
Right.
Why is it happening now in 2026? Why not before?
So there are two parts to it. One is from a regulation perspective, it needed to be allowed by regulators to say, hey, you can use this as an additional factor.
When was this allowed?
This was in September or October of 2025.
Oh, just recently they gave
It's very, very recent. So,
but since when have you guys been requesting?
So the industry's been talking with the regulator for a fair amount of time. The final guidelines came in September, October.
Okay.
Obviously, we were expecting the guidelines, so there was a lot of product work, development work, which was there. And this is a flagship launch with Flipkart, where we are bringing together this as the first in the industry as a biometric authentication for card payments.
Interesting. So this is the first of its kind that is being launched. And this is going to change the way we make payments, reduce the number of scams and frauds, and increase the kind of trust that people have. Let's talk about Flipkart Minutes. This is Flipkart's own quick commerce vertical. How does payments change when something is being delivered in like 10 minutes?
Yeah, Flipkart Minutes are actually one of the fastest growing category for us. More and more customers are adopting. People love getting their stuff in just, quickly. But one other thing, while the delivery aspect is challenging enough, we also realized that we had to do payments very differently. If a customer is expecting something to reach them in minutes, then they need the payment to get completed in seconds, which means we have to do all of the things we just said in terms of, completing the payment, checking for fraud and all of that stuff much faster.
But it does happen in seconds, even if I normally buy on Flipkart, right?
Well, sometimes what we do is, while we take the OTP from you, we'll do a lot of background verification before we initiate the order.
Oh, really?
Right? And
It says successfully ordered, but not successful.
your job's done.
Okay.
My job starts then.
Okay.
Right? So you go away, and then our team starts, all the hundreds of people, like I said,
Huh.
fraud detection or our algos, they start firing, saying, hey, is this Sharan? Is it not Sharan? Is it Sharan lookalike? Who is he?
Oh.
So we do all of that work. And earlier we had more time to do all of that stuff because the orders leaving the warehouse in an hour or 2 hours. Now we have much lesser time. So all of us suddenly have to work faster and harder to complete that payment and keep it as secure. And of course, you have to give you payment confirmation and everything. But that's really the one thing that's changed. We have to do everything faster now.
Perfect. I think on that note, let's wrap up our conversation. This was a very insightful learning for me, because this is something that I almost would never want to research by myself. What is happening in the world of payments. And as both of you guys who do this day in and day out for decades, I think this has been a very, very eye-opening conversation for me to understand how I can protect myself from scams and frauds happening, and B, what is the future of the payments ecosystem that India is already pioneering in, and where we are taking it to the next level. So thank you so much for giving me your time and sharing your your valuable insights into this industry with the rest of our audience.
Thanks for having us here.
Thank you. On that note, guys, I'll see you in the next one.
Before you go, guys, if this video gave you even one insight and made you feel differently about money, don't just keep it to yourself. Share it with your friends or family member who could use it too. And if it has sparked a new thought or even made you disagree with me, drop a comment below and tell me why. Your critique helps me make this conversation sharper and more useful for you. As long as you have me subscribed, I'll make sure that you walk away with one new thing every Wednesday and Saturday.